So that gear in the rear is not taking an advantage in this series. This is a best of 9 series, so the first team to 5 will clinch it.
Yeah, the score is now 3-2. fLc coming out taking the first 2 wins, gear in the rear. It's Kirk coming out taking 3 in a row after that to even it up and then give the go-ahead. So, I mean, actually we've seen this. It's been fairly common in these clan wars to see one team out get a real strong showing and then the other team come out and just run right back with it. So even though these series get ahead 4-1, 3-1, 3-0, I mean, they're so far from being out of it because it's a best of 9, so anything can happen.
And a lot of these teams definitely have ace players up their sleeve that they're ready to throw out at a moment's notice. So while they do have some definitely good players, typically there's 1 or 2 that they can really rely on. And it seems like Kirk is that player for gear in the rear.
Yep, I'm just pasting in chat one more time. The Reddit thread for tonight's broadcast got the information in there, so check that out if you like. And I think with that, we're ready to go into game number 6.
Let's do it.
Alrighty. And in the lower right-hand corner, is our green Zerg on a run here, 3 in a row for his team gear in the rear. It is Kirk.
And in the lower left-hand corner, representing Team fLc and the Protoss race, it is Cardris.
So, I mean, Kirk's showing real strong in ZVZ and PVZ. I mean, we haven't seen any Terrans in here yet. I wonder if he actually has a weakness, but just is not showing it at all against Zerg and Protoss.
And he's not really showing the same strategy twice either. He's been doing a lot of different strategies that you really can't prepare for. So I'm really excited to see if he's doing a repeat this game or if he's going to try something new.
Yeah, I mean, the first PVZ that he played in, we saw the Baneling drops, which is something you almost never see. It was super exciting to see. And the last game, it was a huge 2-base Roach swell into Mutas, which basically won the game. And the only thing left to try this game is Swarmhouse. I would love to see Swarmhouse out of Kirk.
You know, every time we've seen Swarmhouse in this tournament, I get really excited. It either works beautifully or fails miserably. But it is definitely a cool play that you don't see a ton, as it is kind of difficult to pull off. You have to be really in the right positioning and micro those units very carefully. And typically, speaking just as a generalization of the race of Zerg, that is not something that you're used to doing. Typically, you can throw away a decent number of units and still be all right. But with Swarmhost, if you throw those away, you're in trouble.
Yeah, it seems like one of those things that's you have to just be in the right position to get it out, because if the Protoss person is going for the correct build, Colossus with Observer, it's going to be not very strong. But if you can catch them going for a gateway push or something like that, you know, it's definitely also strong. But it seems like people against Swarmhouse and PVZ, at least when I see it, they don't realize that, you know, as Protoss, the biggest weakness to Swarmhouse is the fact that they're incredibly immobile. So Blink is really strong. As long as you can hold the Locust Path, if you can just blink around them, get into their base, I mean, there's almost nothing they can do about it. Base trades seem to be quite the option, but no one, I just don't see very commonly people go for that.
Yeah, it's true. But, you know, to increase that mobility, a lot of times you'll see the Nidus network in use with Swarmhosts, which is really cool because, you know, they can kind of get around everywhere. But Nidus network has its problems of its own. That is another thing that you don't see very often.
Yeah, it's really cool to see the Swarmhost Queen. We're talking so much about Swarmhost. I sure hope we see him. Otherwise, it'd be completely a waste, but it's still fun to talk about it as not much.
Irrelevant, but...
Expansions going down for both players. The hatch does pop for Kirk. He's, you know, the first game we saw him take a quick 3-base. Last game was a 2-base Roach swell. So we could see anything out of him. I really like the quick 3-base out of Zerg. It makes for a really tough mid-game for Protoss, I think. But also, if Protoss can scout the 2-base Roach swell, it's really easy to hold off. But it's all in the scouting, because last game it seems like there wasn't a whole lot of scouting from our Protoss friend.
He did try what he could, but, you know, there was a lot of tech switches that just didn't really suit him or suit the composition all that well. He did expect the Roaches and made Immortals accordingly, but he did not anticipate the Mutas.
Stargate going down here right in the wall at the ramps. This is a fairly common thing. Mostly have seen it out of Naniwa. A lot of other players tend to hide a little better, but Mothership Core thwarting away the Lings as they don't want to give out their lives for nothing. So they will actually not see that, but the wall's going to be completed here with probably another gateway after the forge comes down. And also knowing that he can't get in, he's decided to take a third base. He does have an overlord up here, can't really see anything either.
No, that mothership core is really keeping those lings back, and he doesn't want to send that overlord in just yet because he will almost, well, he thinks that he'll lose it at least. He probably wouldn't at this point because there's not really any stalkers, but I guess by the time he got it in there, that chrono boosted Phoenix would be in there.
Looks like we're gonna have roaches coming down now, as he's still only got he did have one gas down, second one is down, but now just putting workers into it. Third goes down, so we're going to see layer coming up soon as Roach Warren is about half done. And we'll see all the upgrades come down for that. But the big money thing, I mean, he's on 3 base now, so that's a little less likely for the big strong Roach swell. There will likely be either Hydras or Swarm Hosts behind it. I'm still got my fingers crossed for the Swarm Hosts. But Phoenix out for Cardis, so that's cool.
And he is going to be able to snipe a lot of these overlords, and he sent them in the opposite directions just for the specific purpose of cleaning up these overlords. And but we don't really see a reaction of Kirk at this point. There's no. Oh, there's the Spore Crawler.
Yeah, Spore going down. A couple Spores. No, he's also going to lose a couple overlords. He did have 3 in production. That does supply block him by 1, but not much will get them out of that. But he is scouting around with these Phoenix, so he's likely going to see this other overlord here. If he's lucky now, he's going to fly right on past it. But there is a attack move line from one of the other ones. So that second Phoenix looks like he's going to catch that overlord.
And the attack paths on these Phoenix are just specifically designed to try and kill as many overlords as he possibly can.
Yeah, 3 roaches in production, layer in production as well.
He's just got them going in all sorts of different directions, just trying to catch any that are on the map.
So I think we're going to see some Baneling drops here because he does have Baneling nests going down, and generally in this situation I would say Banelings are not a good choice. Queen gets picked up, so he's going to do some damage to that. Likely get it picked off if another Queen doesn't come down and help out here.
Nope, and that... Oh!
Well, that Spine Crawler not being all that useful at the moment. Looks like it's a little out of range of the Phoenix, but it is protecting those overlords.
So that overlord was a straggler and does get picked off, and that's a huge disadvantage for Kirk here. He is losing roaches, and he's losing overlords, and he's just not able to rebuild much.
Nice micro there. Cancels the Graviton Beam of the one Phoenix as it was being targeted by the Spore Crawler and picks it up with another one to save the Phoenix. I don't think he's lost any Phoenix yet. Yeah, if we look at units lost, he's at 0, so he's done a great job killing almost 1,000 resources worth of units for Kirk. Now picking up all the gas drones, and that gas is so important.
It absolutely is, and you're right about the. We do see the Ventral Sacs and the Pneumatized Carapace going down concurrently, so he is going to try to do those drops. However, with these Phoenix on the field, I don't know how powerful that's going to be. They can get picked off real easily.
Yeah, I was just thinking that myself, but especially seeing the Banelings in this situation would be pretty uncommon. But I mean, he does see the Baneling nest, and I think he would think the same thing, especially if he knows what has happened in previous games. +1 melee. Armor attack going down as well, so you can single shot the workers. But it looks like Kirk is sort of getting to the end of the usefulness of these Phoenix. As the energy getting down, he's getting more well defended against them as well.
The micro for Cardris here, though, is just impeccable. He hasn't lost any of these Phoenix yet, and he's been getting so many kills, even in the light of these Spore Crawlers being here.
Yeah, Blink coming down for Cardis as well. This is a good play by him, I think, as the overlords with the drops are going to be a big deal. He can't expect to get away with any of that stuff now if Cardis can spot it. Also warping in a lot of stalkers, immortal. So he's been able to really hold Kirk back really well to get the tech of his choice up. Oh, and he's also going to see all these Banelings morphing in right here too.
Yeah, units lost tab now is 1,500 for Kirk, so Cardris is really putting on the hurt here. He's not lost anything. These Phoenix have just been impeccably controlled, like I said before. I'm just incredibly impressed with the control that he's had with these and the amount of damages he's been able to get done.
And this is totally my favorite build in PvZ. Getting the Phoenix out to harass and force the Zerg opponent into exactly what he's doing. Hydralisk, and behind it setting up a Robo facility and Robo Bay, getting the Colossus out. And your Phoenix give you just enough time to get Colossus out and Colossus range done, 2 to 3 Colossus, and then you make that push as soon as Hydras come out and you are good.
Few Lean Scouts do move forward. They do see the army composition of Cardris, and they do see that third is going down.
They don't see the Colossus though.
They do not see that Colossus.
I mean, one would have to expect that if he sees Immortals, that Colossus can be expected given the activity of these Phoenix, though.
And this game has just been so incredibly one-sided. I mean, Carter's hasn't lost a single thing yet.
Yeah, and Kirk has quite a bit of money here, but he's not expanding, which is interesting because usually a good reaction to the Phoenix like this is just to take another base because you can't lift up a base, they can't attack a base, so as long as you're going to be in that phase and you've got the money, you might as well put down a fourth base. But looks like the Overlords are ready to pick up these Banelings here, and they do have some in the back, and they're actually doing a nice job of skirting around the Phoenix.
And that could be a game changer if he's able to get those out over there and do some damage with them, but he's got to be really careful as these Phoenix could just ruin his day.
Yeah, the Phoenix are so far away, they're all clumped up, and Cardis now well into Colossus production and Gateway production. Highly doubt he's going to be scouting the path these Overlords are going, so it's a good idea for Kirk to send them that way. And, you know, he's got nothing in his main to defend against this, so if he can get this off... Oh, there's a drop coming in at the natural. He's got the Overlord coming in as Cardis is not noticing. One drop goes down, so many probes die. 3 drops, all 4 Banelings have huge connections on probes. 16 workers killed by Kirk.
The next 2 Overlords are going in, but he did warp Stalkers in, anticipating it. So they drop their... Oh, they don't... Oh, no, the first one didn't get any Banelings out. And those Banelings just get cleaned up. There was really no loss there.
Yeah, I don't think that there wasn't any loss at all because 16 workers were killed before that and 16 workers killed after. But now Kirk with a Ling Baneling Hydra force essentially coming here to attack the third is just going to be shut down incredibly hard with these Blink Stalkers and Colossus.
And you do not want to see this army composition moving in with the army that Kirk has.
Nope.
The Immortals, another Colossus.
Yeah, this is definitely a game to watch if you want to learn how to play PvZ from the Protoss perspective, because Cardis doing a fantastic job. Great control of those Phoenix to put his opponent back, and great army composition afterwards. That's GG. We just had to expect that with that the way Kirk played excellently, but in that game, Cardis just had his number.
He absolutely did, and you know, it just was incredible to me how many kills he was able to get with those Phoenix. He didn't overcommit to the Phoenix. He only made a few, but enough to do serious damage, especially with the control that he had on them. And that was just the game changer. Kirk wasn't able to recover from that.
Yeah, the units lost told the story when you're 10 minutes into the game and it's 1,500 to 0, and you've got 8 Phoenix on the field. That requires some fantastic control, especially with almost 2 Spore Crawlers at every base.
Yeah, and he was just able to find those small positions where he was able to get damage done and not take a lot of damage on those Phoenix. He was able to just mostly take shield damage and microing the ones that were damaged back so he didn't lose them. Just incredible.